Hello and welcome to Downsizing. I'm Julie Cliff. I'm a declutter coach and my business is Space and Time. I will do a little bit more of an introduction to let you know who I am shortly, but I'm going to start off by letting you know what we're going to be doing today. Again, thank you for making the time to be here, and really would like this to be a mindful workshop today about what is this all about? Why are we downsizing? What is the purpose of it? When we've got some clear intention, what we're trying to achieve, it really helps us along the way on that journey. So where you are now and then downsized, and then it really helps if you can keep your focus on that goal going forward. So start to have a think about that, start sharing in the chat. And I'm going to have a look in a minute as to what you would like to learn from this today, to learning all about downsizing. And as I said, we can ask questions as we're going along, but it's going to be pretty action-packed, full of information, not quite so much interaction as we have had in our other sessions on decluttering. So when referring to downsizing, today I'm going to be talking about moving to a smaller home. Perhaps there's been you're at that stage where you're downsizing because the kids have left home, or maybe unfortunately there might be a breakdown in a family, so they're needing to move to two smaller homes. Or maybe you're at that awesome time of your life when you're moving to retirement living and looking forward to that. But I'll also be giving some general decluttering tips as well today, in relation to downsizing, but really keeping our focus that we're going from a larger home to a smaller home. So we really want to have a think about having less stuff and getting to know a bit more about our feelings and our thoughts around our stuff, and how they may be sort of holding us back, I suppose, by having too many things around, because there's always more things that we're tripping over, more things to clean when we have more stuff. And that bottom point there, it says we want to understand how we can comfortably live with less stuff in a smaller home, because it certainly is possible. I'm not talking about being minimalists here today. I'm just talking about living with less stuff. We can all live with less stuff, including me. A lot of those awesome books that I've got there, I probably will never read again. I've probably got them on audio version as well. So quite possibly I could pass them on when it comes to the time for us to be downsizing, which I'm looking forward to myself one day, to be able to move into a smaller home that has less maintenance and those sorts of things. So really want to make this a positive experience today as we are going through. As I said, what is your intention for today? Would love to hear in the chat or read in the chat what it's all about. Bettina says she's learning to let go and then put the rest into a box and get ready to move and downsize. I love that idea. So that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about, Bettina. Looking at what's important. Good, let's hang on to that bit. No, let go of that bit. And then having it, some things we can certainly start to box up now if your downsizing is imminent. So thank you. Don't forget everybody else. Oh, Charmaine, good on you. Now that our daughter is finished school, we are moving into the next part of our lives. How exciting. Good on you, Charmaine. Looking forward to hearing about that journey. Thank you for sharing. So we're looking at similar things there. Moving to a smaller place with a smaller amount of things. So we really want to have a look at our mindset towards downsizing. I'm going to talk about that considerably this morning. It's not something that I do a lot of at the start of my workshops, but today I really want to have a think about that. And then also some practical tips to get started. A lot of you that are already on our call today have been to my workshops before, and you know my 6-step system. I am going to run through that today in relation to downsizing. So there'll be our practical tips, but really wanted to start with that mindset, getting that right before we start. And then, as always, I've got an offer to continue the journey after our session today. So I'll share those options. Somebody else has said, Fatima, hello, Fatima, awesome to see you. Would like to organise kids' toys and their artworks. That is always a good one. They keep on bringing more things in, don't they? So let's see if we get to that one today. I'll try and keep that in mind, Fatima, particularly when it comes to the letting go and the organising. So thank you. I will bring that up. So we'll flick on to the next one here. I am, as I said, my name is Julie Cliff. I am a declutter coach and professional organizer. I call myself a declutter coach when I'm presenting these types of workshops and in-person workshops. And I'm really teaching other people, coaching other people the skills so they can go and do the work themselves. But I also call myself a professional organizer when I am hands-on in people's homes. That's my day job. I've got a 2.5 hour session at 1:30 today. So I'm going out and I physically help people declutter and get organized. Being a professional organizer for 7.5 years, when I found a group of professional organizers before that here in Melbourne, who I still meet with monthly, and found out that this is what people do. They can make their living out of helping people get organized at home, and I really enjoy that work. I'm married, my husband and 2 children, 13 and 16, 2 boys. They are out doing their thing today, so I'm enjoying the peace and quiet of being at home. I mention that a lot when we are on these calls, because being in Melbourne in lockdown for so much of the last 2 years, having some peace and quiet at home has been rare, so always enjoying that. I was actually running around singing earlier, getting ready for this. So I hope nobody was recording when I was doing that, but always enjoy my own peace and quiet. And also, as I said, doing online declutter coaching as well to help people learn the skills. I was just chatting to a fellow just at 9 o'clock, so an hour ago, about his downsizing. I'm going to share a little bit about that shortly. So we've been doing weekly and now monthly check-ins, so that keeps him accountable, teaching the skills, and he goes off and does it. So as I said, I'll share a little bit more about that shortly, my online declutter coaching. Keep those comments coming, everybody. Let me know in the chat what you're looking to learn today. Thanks, Liz. She says she's having trouble making a start. Having lived in our house for 30 years, I've inherited stuff plus my own and the stuff from the kids. There's a lot. I understand that, Liz. Thank you for sharing, and we will certainly talk about tips to get started. Thank you. We will certainly keep that in mind. Keep those comments coming, everybody, in the chat. Really appreciate that, so we can try and keep focus, and I can address people's questions and comments as we're going along. As I said, I really wanted to spend some time as we start today to get your mindset right in relation to downsizing. And one thing that I really wanted to encourage you to do is not to stress about it. I think sometimes when you say don't stress, it causes stress, but I just wanted you to be relaxed about it. There's so many studies show that anxiety and stress takes us away from the projects that we want to work on. We just sort of close down and we do find things overwhelming. So if we can just know this is going to work, we are going to get this done, we are going to downsize and get to where we want to be, then things will start to flow a lot better for you. And that really open mindset will help you a long way towards decluttering and downsizing in this instance. And exactly what Liz just said in her little chat box there, that things have accumulated over a number of years. So that means it probably will take a little while to unpack that and to unpick it and to undo it. Not saying it's going to take the same amount of time. It's not going to take her 30 years to do it, but it will take some time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Sometimes deadlines are great, and they do us a favor, and we have to get things done quickly. But I'd really love you to start your downsizing journey as soon as you can. If there's any inkling that that's going to be happening, I'd be starting right now. I'd be starting at your own pace. I'll be putting the timer on, as I always say. I'm putting to my watch because it's always got a timer on it on my phone, and make it a regular habit. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more in the 6-step system. We also want to start to, as I mentioned before, start to live with less. We are so lucky and abundant in, particularly in Australia. Bill's dialing in from Canada today. We're so lucky we have access to so many things, but at the same time, it can be a curse as well. So let's start to think about the idea of living with less, and getting into that mindset as well. And I want you to make sure that you're reaching out and asking for help from your friends and family, or get an expert like myself. There are professional organizers all around the world if you need some help. But and ask for that help and get them to give you some help. But if they're no help at all, please thank them for their service and ask them to go away very politely, because this is a process I can understand that a lot of people want to do on their own. They don't want to be pushed. They don't want to be shoved. They don't want to be hurried. So get that help if you can. But if it's not the right person, find a way of saying thank you, but I really want to do this on my own, and ask them not to come back again. But I really would, if you can, suggest you get some help and some moral support and some accountability to get this moving for you. Now, I just had that little blurb at the top of the page there come to me as I was walking yesterday, thinking about this, and saying that your current life has led you to where you are right now. But what physical things will nurture your future self and your future life? I want you to keep that in mind. Yes, we've got a house full of stuff. I've got a printer. I've got folders over there. I've got all those books. My husband's got a few coffee machine type things up there. And that's brought us to our life right now. But what physical things do we want in our lives going forwards for our future life that we want to live, and our future selves? A lot of those books are about me and perhaps the corporate world and productivity and time management and those sorts of things, which I still really do appreciate, and live by a lot of those things, but they don't mean as much to me as they did back in that time. So going forward, as I mentioned before, I would probably be quite happy to let them go, because they're not really serving my future self or my future life. So really try and keep that in mind as you're going forward about those physical things that are surrounding you. And also the last point on that page is about forget about the fear of missing out, FOMO, fear of missing out, and embrace the joy of missing out. And really be thankful that we don't have all that stuff to carry around with us anymore. We don't have to tread over it. We don't have to rummage through boxes. We don't have to clean it or pick it up, or, we really want to think about that, the joy of missing out going forwards. And you won't be missing out at all, but it's just a really interesting expression. So as I said, thinking about what physical things are really going to add to your future life, and really embrace that joy of missing out going forwards. A couple of things in the chat. Bettina says she's had a helpful hint that somebody gave her of using visualization. I love it. How would I feel if I do the job? And how will I feel if I don't do the job? This approach can help you out of an inactive spot. I appreciate that. That's right. The idea of thinking about if you do the job or don't do the job, I think you'd probably be moving towards doing the job more often than not doing the job. But you might decide, well, I don't even need to do the job at all. So good one. I like that tip. Thank you, Bettina. And I think that was all for now. Thank you. Really appreciate your thoughts. Keep them coming, everybody. So that was all about mindset. And we've got the good ideas in our mind about what we want our future homes to look like. Again, I'm not talking about living in a white box with nothing. I'm just talking about having a home that you love and you look around and you really cherish everything that's in front of you. So that was getting your mindset right and getting your goals and your thoughts front of mind. Make sure you're jotting them down as we're going along. Now I want us to really target, really focus on what you've just been thinking about, and how are we going to get from where you are now to those future goals that you were just thinking about. And I really want you to have considerable thought about what you take with you to your new home. And thinking about the idea that, do you really want to take all those items in your house that you never use and they just take up space? You might use it one day. Well, you might not either. So just thinking about that and really only taking the stuff that you really, truly love, because quite frankly, you probably won't have room for it at the other end. Also with the idea of let's get ruthless. Let's think of our downsized homes as a new beginning and a new chapter. We can thank our past for getting us to where we are now, but also thinking again about that future life and make a pledge to move forward with less stuff. So let's get ruthless. Let's look at things, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more when we're talking about the 6 steps about how to decide what to keep and what to let go. But I really want us to just get in there. If we're talking about 30, 20, 10 years worth of stuff, all the kids stuff that Fatima was talking about, let's get ruthless and really be just hanging on to those things that are going to take us towards that future life that we want to live. And don't forget that you're the boss. The stuff is not the boss. You are the boss. So we don't want our stuff weighing us down and making us feel guilty and thinking it's a gift. Oh, it was my grandma's. No, you're the boss. You decide. So let's keep that in mind. And also to remember the idea that it is your home. Again, you're the boss of your home. Certainly listen to other people that are trying to help and giving you advice. Maybe it's your mum, your sister, your cousin, your neighbor. They may be giving you some advice, but really carefully consider that. I've heard horrific stories of other people giving advice of, well, why do you need that piano? And the person loves the piano. The neighbor had no idea how much the piano meant to this client. And now she doesn't even play the piano now. She feels guilty that she has a piano in her home. So just be really wary of that advice. People are very well-intentioned, of course, giving advice. And if I say something as well that doesn't sit with you, just say, oh, I'm not going to listen to what she said about that. Same with any of that outside advice that's coming from others. It's your home. If you want to keep your piano, if you want dried flowers everywhere, it's your home. Please remember you're the boss of your home. And I love the idea of doing this downsizing for yourself, of course, but also for your family members as well. We're thinking about this downsizing as an opportunity for you to press the reset button. Let's start again. I moved to Melbourne 26 years ago, and everything that I owned fit in my Datsun 200B. Like everything that I owned fit in that car. I certainly couldn't fit everything I own in that car now. So it's it's so free to be able to pack up and put everything you own in one car or one suitcase, whatever it might be. We really want to look at this opportunity as being something positive rather than, oh no, I've got to get rid of all these things. And we really want it to be a positive experience. And also bearing in mind that we don't want to leave all our stuff behind. When the time comes that we're no longer around, we've lived our last day on this earth, people around us are sad because we've gone, and then they have to go and empty our house of all our stuff. It's not really very fair, I don't think, to be doing that to our family members, that they're having to go through our things. And the other bit is that they won't even know what the important bits are and which bits weren't important to you. So if we can do the downsizing now, if we can start to share some of those family heirlooms around now, share stories now while we're around, and tell people the important parts of our lives, we would really greatly benefit ourselves, but also benefit our family members as well. And some of you may have heard this referred to as Swedish death cleaning. There's a whole book about it and lots of other information about Swedish death cleaning, really about the idea of starting to get rid of your stuff now so that other people don't have to do it when you're not around anymore. But as I said, this is taking it one step more than the actual downsizing. It's thinking about what you're leaving behind when you're no longer around. I hope that that could be helpful for you to be thinking about your family in that way. Okay, another few quick tips is to get started, as I said, at your pace. Put that timer on. Nothing like having a time in the diary, or again, I'll talk about it in a sec. Get the time in 10 minutes and get started. Start exactly what Bettina says. Start to let go of things now and pack up things that you're not using. If your move is imminent, like if it's in the next 12 months or something, start to pack up the things you don't use daily, but you are definitely want to take with you, and let go of a lot of those other things. And the third point that I got on that slide there is all about knowing the exact dimensions of the new home that you're moving to, so that you know whether your furniture, whether your clothes, whether all whatever's are going to fit into your space. When we were renovating our home here, we had the plans drawn up with our architect for our kitchen that we had a lot of input into, and then we drew it out on the concrete in our carport so that we could see the scale of it and really could know how we were going to use the space. So you can do that when you're looking forward, if you already have your new home, thinking exactly where furniture is going to go and those sorts of things. That will help you be able to decide what you can keep and what you can let go. I was talking about that lady with her piano. Maybe you haven't got room for your piano in your new home. You might have to have a keyboard or something instead. So just thinking about the dimensions of the new home can help as well. And again, please just keep that new, light, fun lifestyle in mind that we're moving forward to, rather than boxes and boxes and boxes of things. All right, so we've just been talking about our mindset and getting ready to get stuck in. We really wanted to get clear on what we're trying to achieve here. If anyone's had any other thoughts or feedback as we're going through, I might just pause here in 1 second for a quick little bit of feedback. But if there's any other thoughts about that mindset, let me know in the chat. And let's talk about how to actually get started on the decluttering and the downsizing in 1 second. I'm just going to quickly stop my sharing. Has anybody got any very quick or particular comments or questions in relation to the mindset that we've just been talking about? Just take yourself off mute or call out, wave. Time management tips. Fatima, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But we will certainly do that when we get to maintenance. I'll be talking about time management. But thank you. I really appreciate that thought, because managing our time is really important when we're trying to do a big task like downsizing. All right, nothing specific. Let's keep on moving. I'm going to share my screen again. Beautiful. So we are going to get stuck into the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system. Many of you, as I said, have been to my workshops before, and I've been through these steps, but I'm going to really try and zoom through it because we've only got half an hour left. And I've made these points directly related to the actual downsizing, so it's different. I've actually spent some time and tweaked it, so it's a little bit different. So we're going to talk about SYSTEM, stop the stuff, your commitment to being organized, sort the stuff, things you no longer need, which is the decluttering step, and then easy storage for your stuff and your to-dos, and then maintenance. So let's get stuck in. So the first step, as I said, is stop more stuff. As we said, too many things, too much stuff means there's more to clean, more to organize, more to manage, and it's just too much. So if we're talking about downsizing, we really need to make sure that we've got less stuff coming into the home. We want more and more and more to be going out. We want to be very careful about what we're purchasing, about what we're bringing into the home, and having a really good think about letting go as much as we can. And as that top point there says, it's really difficult to make any progress if there's still more stuff flowing in the front door. So really want to make sure that we're being careful of our purchases. We're being careful about, you know, no more toys coming into the house. We're not going to the sales. We're hopefully maybe not even going shopping at all for clothes and those sorts of things, while we're really trying to reassess what we've got and getting ready for this new step on, you know, in our lives, and really looking towards that future life. So take a list when you go shopping. If you really do need to go and get a new pair of black pants, you know, have black pants on the top of the list and really be mindful. Now, I've given lots and lots of these ideas on stopping this stuff in previous workshops. Let me know if you need any more of these tips, and I can happily send you the links to others. But again, as many of you have been on these calls before, I'm just going to fly through it because I know you've got the idea of, we don't want more paperwork coming in. We want to unsubscribe to things that we don't read, or again, or sort of part of our past lives. Saying no to people when they're offering us things. You know, I've just been through my own wardrobe. Would you like to have a look at the clothes and, you know, see if there's anything you want to keep, and keep looking at saying no to family heirlooms. We're going to start to be passing off our family heirlooms in the next step. So really have a good think about what we're bringing into the home. What have we got on the chat? Nothing else at this moment. That's awesome. So what sort of things do you need to stop from coming into the home? What accumulates that's not going to be very helpful in your future life? Please drop a note or two down below and let us know. But any of those things that you find accumulate, we want to be able to stop it from coming in the house in the first place. Unsubscribing, I love it, Charmaine. That is a great one. You know, whether it's magazines or papers, paper bills, anything that's coming in the snail mail box. Let's see if we can stop that paperwork from even coming in the front door. I know some people do love a paper bill to be able to make sure they're paying their Telstra bill online on time and those sorts of things. Liz says the same thing. Yep, she agrees. So it's really a good way to have less stuff. You know, if you haven't got that piece of paperwork, it's one less thing to open. I've spent quite a lot of time over the last few weeks opening electricity bills, gas bills, bank statements with a client recently, but she did want to keep that stuff for a specific reason. So we were happy to do that, but it's good if it's not coming in at all. Thank you, Bettina. She says she's got lots of physical notes. Yep. And to find the right spot to put them. And she says you do it so you can memorize these in German and English. How clever. But I wish I would not do it. Yeah. But notes are a part of the journey, aren't they? When we're learning, like some of you might be squiggling a lot of notes now that I'm saying, but perhaps you don't have to keep them afterwards. You just could highlight a couple of points and go from Julie's thing that she taught me today about downsizing, I'm going to do this and this. So if you come up with 2 points from this hour presentation, that'd be awesome, and chuck the rest of the notes. So anyway, something to keep in mind. So we're really talking about stopping the stuff, but thank you all for sharing those points about how we can stop the stuff. As I said, I'm going to run through these 6 steps. We're up to step 2, which is your commitment to being organized. And it is the same reminder that there is no magic wand for decluttering, getting organized, and downsizing. If, as I said, you probably want to do this process yourself because you are the one that knows what you want to keep and what you can let go. So we really want to make the time and the commitment to put into this. Let's not flap our arms around and get worried and anxious about it. Let's get serious about it. Let's get committed. Let's literally put it in the diary. Again, I'm going to be talking about that more as we're going through, but it would be putting time in the diary for downsizing. You might get other people to help you, as I said, on those times, and you literally write it in your diary. And then if somebody else says, I'd like to have a meeting with you about something, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have another commitment. And keep that commitment to yourself. It's such an important task, this one. And as I said there, let's not worry about your wife, your husband, or the kids right now. Let's get you organized and start to get you downsizing, and we can get them all involved as we move along. So here we are, the idea of planning out time and literally putting it in the diary. If it's not in the diary, how else is it going to happen? Because you get to the end of the day and went, oh, that's right, I was supposed to pack 3 boxes today. So we really need to be diligent about it. 10 minutes, might be 2 hours, it might be half a day, but start to, work on that and be committed to your downsizing project. We speak a lot in my longer programs about writing a contract with yourself, like you might spend 10 minutes every second day between now and the end of the year. That might be a little contract like that you write yourself, write it on a piece of card and keep it handy to remind you, and have it in the diary. As I keep saying, if it's important enough, it really needs to go in there. Write it in your paper diary, put it in your electronic one, have it pop up on all your devices. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. It's time to go in the wardrobe and pack my shoes. Probably not a good idea to pack your shoes a long way out from when you're moving, but it's the idea of making it a nice small task to start. Somebody else, I think it might have been Liz, talking about where do you start? Well, it can be anywhere. It could be somewhere that you're, if you're moving house in 12 months time, and it's just after Christmas, well, you're probably not going to need the Christmas stuff for another 12 months. So you might have a look at Christmas things. How much Christmas stuff am I going to need at the new house, and start to let things go and pack that away. So we want to have some time to get started on little projects like that, so that we can keep moving forwards at your pace. So that's all about your commitment to being organized. As I said on that first slide in this step, there isn't a magic wand. It won't happen. The fairies are not coming. As I said, get an expert like myself to come and give you a hand. Bill would love to come to Canada and give you a hand. But so there's lots of different people around Australia and around the world that can come and give you expert help as well. But it will take some time to do the job, but you can do it. You will do it. Another step that is awesome to getting us going, and a few of you said, I just don't know where to start. This sorting step 3, sort the stuff, is a great way to get started. This is the contents. You've all probably seen it before, the contents of my utensils drawer. And there it is on the left, all just dumped on the kitchen bench. You would have no idea that I have 7 vegetable peelers. But on the right, of course, you can see that easily as pie that there are 7 vegetable peelers there. And if you're moving to a smaller home, that will certainly be somewhere that you would start. You probably wouldn't have room for 7 vegetable peelers. So sorting your stuff in this way is really helpful to be able to physically see what you have. So you can start with the utensils drawer and start downsizing. You might not pack it just yet, but you would think about a smaller drawer that you would have in a smaller home. I'm very, very lucky where we are in our home. my utensil drawer is literally 1 meter wide. So all of that stuff fits in as easy as pie. But if we move to a smaller home, as I said, we'd need to consolidate or find a different way to be storing it. But that sorting can really start to think about, what have I got? What do I use? And what we can let go of. And as the third point there says, getting the things in some sort of order can really show you what you have. Again, we'd have no idea from that jumble of utensils that there's 7 vegetable peelers in there. And when you get it sorted out, you can go, oh, have I got too much? And you can answer that question yourself. And I'm just going to whiz through this. If you're starting to sort your household goods, start to put small appliances together, some baking things together, get all your utensils that we've just talking about. Maybe you might start with the junk drawer. Some of these things can seem a little bit micromanagey, but they are so helpful when you get them sorted out. Like the junk drawer, we actually call ours a utility drawer because it's got the scissors, it's got the tape, it's got the blue tack, it's got the highlighters and pens and everything that you might need to quickly write a note, whatever it might be. And that's right in the middle of our kitchen. So having something sorted out like that is really beneficial. Again, it might take a little while to get it sorted, but it's a great project to get done. You might want to do it in a couple of lots, couple of 10-minute lots, couple of half-hour sessions. But again, in the diary, it says 10 minutes junk drawer, 10 minutes collect batteries, 10 minutes get all the textures together, something like that. Those little projects you can just tick off as you're going along. Toys, Fatima, we won't have a lot of time to talk about toys today because we're sort of talking about general house decluttering and downsizing, but sorting the kids' toys in this way can be awesome because you can go, look at all the Lego, oh, look at all the Barbies, oh, look at all the Shopkins, and you've got them all together in one place and decide whether you've got too much or not. If you think you have too much, it might go, you might donate it, or you might be able to box it up if you've got the room to do it, and be able to rotate the toys for the kids so that they've got less in your physical space in the home. You might be lucky to have a corner in the garage or the attic or something like that to be able to rotate the kids' toys. Again, sorry, I haven't got a lot of time to be able to talk about this today, but Fatima, happy to talk to you a bit more about the kids and their artwork. You could sort their artwork as well, and be able to decide how many pieces of the kids' artwork you wanted to keep. This sorting step is a really good one for that. Bettina says she has a drawer with Band-Aids that she uses a lot in your island bench. Yeah, it's so handy just to have those things to grab. I really think, that is a really good thing to have so that you're not looking around the house for Band-Aids, you know exactly where they are. Thanks for sharing. Paperwork, if you're needing to go through a lot of paperwork, really, this is the sorting step, but I won't get too bogged down in how to let it go, but starting to sort it by date. And that's what I was doing with this client last week. We got all of her bills out, sorted in chronological order, and then we could file it so she can easily reference it when she needs it. So, just corralling it into one part of the house is a really good start. I see paperwork all over people's homes when I'm working with them. So just having it in the one spot is good. I need to keep moving, I know. So we have gone through, stop the stuff, stop it from coming in. We have looked at your commitment to being organized. There is no magic wand. Get the time in the diary and sort the stuff. Just start, get one little, like I said, the top drawer of your desk, the second drawer of your desk, the bottom drawer in the kitchen. Start with one little project and just have a go. So we've done that, SYS. We're now up to things you no longer need. So what we want to do here is let go of items we no longer need. Check out the Space and Time website for the donation options. Again, it's sort of a bit Melbourne centric, but it can give you some ideas no matter where you are in the world. Oh, Melbourne's got a blah, blah, blah to recycle, whatever it might be. Maybe I might have something like that in my area. My clients find it so much easier to be able to let things go when they know it's going to a good home. They know it's not going to landfill. Somebody else can use it. As we said, let go if you have multiple, like the 7 vegetable peelers. Thank the item for its service. As we said, the items, the things in your home have got you to where you are now, but it's probably not going to suit you in the future. So thank it for its service and pass it on to somebody else that can use it. Don't forget the idea of taking a photo, make a video to be able to remember the item, remember the special time, remember the person, and be able to let go of the item rather than hanging on to the physical item. Some of those things might be a great way, particularly if you are downsizing to a smaller home. And then I know digital clutter is another thing, but it's not taking up the space in your home. You don't have to trip over it. You're not stepping over it. It's not taking up a space where you could be sleeping. So think about those ideas for letting go, really keeping focused on what that future life is going to look like for you. As it says on that first dot point, looking forward to your new life. Let go of the things that do not fit in with your new life. You know, you're probably not going to be downhill skiing anymore. You might not be scuba diving anymore. You might have decided that tennis is no longer for you, or maybe tennis is going to be awesome for you. Thinking about that future life and the things that you currently have, whether they're going to work for you in your future life. Karen says her challenge is, I go to the thrift store to drop off items, then feel the need to walk to the aisles of the shop just in case they have something you need. I know, Karen, I hear you there. I see that with my clients often, and it is a real trick, but see if you can find a salvos or somebody that has the bins out the front so you don't even have to walk in. But I hear you, that is a real challenge, isn't it, to not be bringing more things home when you're dropping them off for donations. Continuing to think about things you no longer need, you know, letting go of clothes that don't fit, they're not the right size, they're damaged. Start to divide the keepsakes and memorabilia between your family members. I mentioned that before. My grandma passed away probably nearly 30 years ago, my dad's mum, and she had stickers on the back of all the little items with people's names on it, so that everybody knew where that item was going to when she was no longer around. So she started to do that. But even the one step further is to actually give that item to the person now, so that they can enjoy it, and you don't have to store it in your home. And also the idea of capturing your past life with the photos, with the videos that we were talking about, and I'll share some more examples of that when we come up to storage. And here we are, step 5 for storage. I'm just going to very quickly again talk about storage. There's a billion different products on the market. I'm talking here about easy storage for small spaces. That's what I'm sort of going to talk about today. Always I talk about easy storage, deliberately called easy storage. It's easy to retrieve, like you know where it lives. It's easy to put back in that spot. Things are labeled. You might have a container, it might be a box, and it's easy for you, your family, and any outside help that you have. Thinking about going forward too, as you're aging, you may have some in-home help coming in and preparing meals and those sorts of things. So if you can start to set up these systems now, will be fabulous for them, with everything labeled and people know where things are. But this step is all about creating those permanent homes and being diligent about putting things back in those permanent homes. But of course, the best storage option for small spaces is to have less stuff. I see so many pantries absolutely full of stuff, and they're going, I want a system and I want it, all these containers. And it's like, well, there's no amount of containers in the world that would help and make this system work well, because there's just too much in it. I never say that to them, but I'm always thinking that. And they usually come to that conclusion in the end. But as I say there, the best storage option for small spaces is to have less stuff. So let's be thinking about that as we're setting up the storage. We want to think about products that can stack, like, you know, say measuring cups or measuring jugs, or just drinking cups, pots and pans, any of those things that can stack on top of each other. I'm talking again about easy storage for small spaces. Use vertical spaces and walls, of course. And did I mention the idea of having less stuff? Don't forget to keep that in mind. These are a couple of options that I always show when I'm presenting my 6-step system presentation, but it's just about the idea of using containers. It could be a box, could be something you already own, but just to help corral and keep things together. Keep little packets from falling over. It might be gravy, it might be chicken noodle soup, it might be pasta, something like that, that stand up nicely in the container on the left. Or you might keep bits and pieces of your gadgets in containers in deep cupboards like this, where it just, you grab it and you use it like a drawer and slide it in and out. And all the bits of the equipment live in that box and always go back into that box so that you can keep all of it together. Matching things if you want. This is my pantry here. It's just Tupperware, very easily labeled. It's not that beautiful, but it is very practical. Again, matching makes it look neater. But if you're not too fussed about what it looks like, go ahead and just use whatever you have got. And then, of course, we can look at different storage options for different parts of the home. This is a bed that has lots of drawers under it. Thanks, Mary Lou, for finding me this picture during the week. She found it online. But I was saying to her, I think you'd probably need a step ladder to get into that bed. It looks like it's quite high, but it would hold, you know, maybe you could put all your linen, your blankets, those sorts of things in those drawers. That looks like awesome storage for a small space. And then the idea, this isn't storage, but just thinking broadly about small homes and small spaces, that we can think about our furniture differently. Like, this is just a small little nook. It might even be like a tiny home. It looks so small, but you know, you don't have to have big dining tables if it's just you and your husband or just yourself. It might just be a little nook here that you can use for your dinner and various activities during the day. So just think a little bit outside the box as well, that we don't have to do things as we've always done them when we're moving forward to our future life. I mentioned the idea of using vertical storage, hanging things on the wall, you know, and nice and easy within reach, using them and having them right where we use them. Some people don't like to see visual clutter like this. I don't think I would have this in my home, but some people might think it's awesome that, you know, there's the saucepan. It's, you know, it's so nice to have just there, and it means that you haven't got that stuff in a drawer or in a cupboard. Would clear up that space for something else, whereas the wall would possibly just be blank otherwise. This is one of the pictures I often show as well. This is called Pantry Drawer with Handle from Kmart. It is excellent. Again, let's have less stuff in our home so we don't need so many of these containers. But this was just from a large family that I worked with a while ago, and it is just a good option for some of those things that you might have sort of larger amounts of. I mean, even a smaller home might have 2 or 3 types of rice, but, you know, containing what you have to those containers. You don't have 3 rice containers, you have 1 type thing. So just give you some different options there. And these were the options I was going to share about easy storage for your memorabilia. The idea of taking a photo of all those special and sentimental items and put it in a beautiful coffee table book so that you're looking at it. You can let go of the item, but then you still have the memory wrapped up with a beautiful bow in a book like this. They're very easy to do. Snapfish, Vistaprint, Memento, even Officeworks do this type of thing now. You could easily spend a bit of time and do that. Or if you haven't got the time to do something like that, just a little bit of organization. This is just a shoebox. You might want to get yourself an actual photo sensitive box, but you know, have a good think about how you want to use your time. Are you going to spend the next 6 years of your life or 100 years of your life organizing your photos, or can you just neatly put them in a box knowing that if I want a photo, well, all the photos are here, and it wouldn't take too much to rummage through that box to be able to find what you wanted. Again, photo storage is a whole other workshop, but just be mindful, how much time do you want to spend organizing your photos? And it might be a nice project that you do after the downsizing, not as you're trying to move. Like, it might be a nice project to do once you have moved to your new home, but see how you go. Racing through this, as I've said, because we've only got 5 minutes left, maintenance tools. This is all about, well, how do you keep it neat and tidy when you have a small space? Firstly, less stuff is going to be so much easier to maintain, but we still do need to be diligent. We still need to put things back in their permanent home straight away. Know what times of the day are going to work well for you. Are you a morning person that you could do some of your decluttering or maintenance work in the morning, or is the afternoon a better time, or later in the evening? Get an accountability buddy, get somebody to give you a hand to make sure that you're keeping it neat and tidy. Maybe invite them over every month for a cuppa. And don't you worry, having a deadline like that will make sure that at least the kitchen is nice and spick and span, and having that accountability. And also, please find yourself a diary and take action. Use your reminders on your phone, on your watch, anything that can go bing, your iPad, to keep on top of these important tasks. Again, because it can be quite difficult with the maintenance if you don't get yourself into a good routine, but also, have a little bit of a card. This one says less stress looking for things. And this one also says, I feel relaxed and in control of my life. So you might have that little reminder as well that you carry around with you to keep up with the maintenance, to remind you, why am I doing all of this work? But again, if you've got less stuff, I reckon all of this is going to be so much easier going forwards, and stay committed to being organized. So we really just had a bit of a check-in, mindset reboot about downsizing. Then we've given some practical tips on how to get started with the sorting, the letting go, and the storage, and then keeping our eyes on that future life. Imagine how free you will feel when you've got nothing in the garage. There's nothing squashed in cupboards. It's just all the perfect and lovely things that you have collected in your life that you want to keep. Very quickly, here we are to continue on the journey. If you would like some hands-on help and you're in Melbourne, please reach out to me for our sessions from $3.95. Don't think I've got much left between now and Christmas, but send me an email and see if I can give you a hand. Also, I can help you with that online coaching. Like I was saying, I was helping that gentleman today who is downsizing a large art collection that he has created over many years. So he's working and chipping away at that every day, and we call in each month. So he's doing that with me, and that's starting from $150 for those check-in calls. But also we have our next workshop. Thank you, Mary Lou. If you wouldn't mind popping the link for that, register now for Declutter Your Mind. So we've talked about a lot of the physical stuff today, but Declutter Your Mind, 11th of November, the same time, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, which is Melbourne time. So we'd love to see you here for that, and that's another freebie, so come along. Tips and tricks to quiet the noise in your life. Mary Lou will also put a link to book a time for 15-minute chat. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Copy and paste that if anyone would like a bit of a clarification call on today. I know we've absolutely flown through that. We could talk downsizing for hours and hours, and would love to continue the conversation. So make a time on that Calendly link to do that. And let's have a very quick look. There are the two links. Any last questions? We have about 10 seconds. No, 1 or 2 minutes. Anyone got anything specific that we didn't cover that we could talk about in the future? You are welcome, Charmaine. I really appreciate that. Brilliant webinar. Thank you very much for that feedback. As I said, come along to the next one that we've got in 2 weeks, Declutter Your Mind. Looking forward to hosting that one with you. Bill, thanks. Awesome to see you here again. Liz, Fatima, Karen, Bettina, and of course, my awesome assistant, Mary Lou. Really appreciate you all coming along. You are welcome, Bettina. Very relaxed listening to me. Thank you. I hope other people will just put it on. If we put it on YouTube, thank you, Karen. You're in the States as well. Good on you. I hope, Bettina, that other people can just put on this webinar that we've recorded today and think that also that yes, they can do it. They can be doing their decluttering while listening to it. So I hope that has been helpful. So good on you. Thanks, Bill. I'm glad you learn something every time you're online. I really appreciate that. We will wrap up here. As I said, we were only going to do an hour today, so we will. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.